it is your obligation to not people please them and actually force them to get a little bit vulnerable and get a little uncomfortable so that they can increase the likelihood of their longevity in the real estate industry. Hi, this is Brian Icenhower, and we're going to talk about a real estate sales training program that actually builds high-producing real estate agents. That's the idea. That's the topic today. How do we build a real estate training system that actually generates producing agents? And before we can tackle that, there's a lot of different contexts you have to look at this from. So I look at it as almost 6 different quadrants that we need to go into, okay? And we have to make decisions which way we go on each one of them. And so there's 3 decisions, okay? And we can go one way or the other, which means there's 2 options either way. And that's what gives us our 6 quadrants for all of real estate training and education. This is going to basically categorize all of real estate training out there. It's how we look at it. As you know, we're one of the largest real estate coaching and consulting companies in the world. And we also build a very large amount of online training systems and events for clients as well, too. So we have to train, speak, coach, all of the above. So we break it down into 6, right? And here's the first question you got to ask. Is it lead generation or is it lead conversion? And that's the hard part. If you look at most traditional brokerages out there, they all teach lead conversion, but they don't teach lead generation, which means they'll teach you how to take care of clients, but they don't necessarily teach you how to get them. So they're really good at teaching you how to hold an open house, but you got to have a listing to have one, or in theory. They'll teach you how to, do a buyer consultation, but you got to get a buyer. They'll teach you how to conduct a listing consultation, how to show a house, how to tour a home. All of these activities that actually require you to first have a client. So that's why it's so big. A lot of local training, localized training at local MLSs, local associations of realtors, local brokerages, they all teach a lot of customer service, but very rarely do any of them teach, in my opinion, the one thing that agents need is how to get more business. And the reason I say that is because 33% of agents, brand new agents, don't make it a second year. They quit. And it's always because they don't make enough money. And then 87% of all agents don't make it 5 years. And they all quit because they don't make enough money. So it seems like more attention should have been put on their training with regards to how to generate new business than it should have been on how to service their existing clients, of which they clearly didn't have much of. So with that being said, we really need to focus more of our efforts on lead generation training. And then, with theory, we get some clients, we might get better practicing on them than what we were doing before. So that's kind of the idea is, we want to do more lead generation versus lead conversion. And there's a huge void out there for lead generation. That's what everyone needs the most of. Of course, that's not comfortable activity, doing things to put yourself out there and make yourself feel a little bit vulnerable and, let the world know that you actually would like their business is much more uncomfortable than it is servicing a client that already wants to use you. It's just kind of a dream sequence that apparently new agents go through to actually think that they're just going to, clients are just going to come up to them. That's not the case. So we have to do some things to ensure that they do come to us or that we get those clients. So that's the first one, lead generation versus lead conversion. Okay. So on the national level, typically, I'll give you an example, ICC, we train all the different lead generation techniques, whether it be geographic farming, FSBOs, expired, sphere of influence, social media, digital marketing, SEO, getting up into teams, team structure, all the different lead sources teams use, online leads, purchasing leads, team structures, org structures, then how to grow on past that and open other affiliate businesses in real estate and how to grow your business, reproduce yourself in business. Those are all the things we teach and we train on that you don't see at the local level. So that's the first thing, is that difference. At the local level, you see mostly how to service the business, right? Which is good, got to have it, but you do see that much more readily available, right? And that's why you have this national versus local level of training as well too. Then you got another perspective, because locally when you train, when you're going to train on local topics like your CRM training, I mean, that's your own CRM. It's localized to you. I can't train everybody on the same CRM. Everybody's got their own, right? They're with their own companies, have them on their own team, have them in their own brokerages. Maybe it's in the office they're in, all of that. So there's one of those too, local versus national. Forms, disclosures. Every local association and local community has their own forms, their own disclosures, their own office procedures. How to set up different functions in their own MLS software systems, like how to do a search in your MLS system versus one in a different town, and how to input a listing in one MLS. That's all localized training that needs to be done at the local level as well too. And then you've got team versus brokerage, whether you run a real estate team where you're providing a significant increased value, like typically some leads and extensive consideration to your agents, versus a traditional brokerage where you have agents hanging their licenses at your brokerage, and you probably provide them maybe a little bit more limited package of value and let them have a higher commission split. And there's a lot of different new evolutions in between the teamerage and all that stuff as well too. But either way, what we're finding is that more and more agents, more and more teams, more and more brokerages need to provide real estate sales training for their agents. That's where their agents learn to fish. That's where the sales leader learns that all their effort in growing their business, with other agents doing some of the production too, is all worth it, right? Is we got to get high producing agents. So that team versus brokerage perspective can be very, very different. But either way, we need to implement lead generation training into even the most traditional brokerages. That's the key. We got to have sales training. We got to create a production-centric environment where when agents come in, they're trained from the get-go on how to generate new business. And oftentimes we see that in the traditional brokerage where agents join and there's a whole bunch of training on how to service the business, but nothing on how to get to it right away. And it's very important because they develop very bad habits in the first 6 months, and they start to learn what not to do. And they don't learn all their options about all the ways they could generate it. So successful leaders of both teams and brokerages know is to expose their agents to all these different things, then instantly start holding them accountable to learning them and holding them accountable to actually doing those income producing activities that may be a little bit uncomfortable, that they need to learn how to do. So that, because I would say close to 85-90% of agents never learn how to lead generate. They actually make a decision about it, and they decide not to because they languish in offices for so long and hear all the excuses from other agencies. Where if they come in right away, and that sales manager of a brokerage or team leader, if they say, hey, we want to teach you the most important part that keeps agents alive in this business is how to get new business, and we'll also teach you the customer service as you go, that's what saves most of the agents out there. That's what it turns, that's what that changes our conversion rate. Not all of them will want it. That's true. But you're out there looking, as a leader, you're looking for the ones that do. So the whole idea is to get in front of as many of them as possible and train productivity training, sales training, how to get new business, all these new lead generation techniques, not just how to service it. We need to get out there and train to it. So we should be holding them accountable to doing a certain amount of activities every single week, especially when they first come on board, because that's the one time they're willing to do it. Think about it. They don't know that real estate's any different than the corporate world. They probably think they're getting a job at Google, and they're going to go through this orientation program where they're going to have to do lots of work and learn a whole lot. If you don't give them that to them, you're going to miss that opportunity in the first 6 months. Now they've already heard from all the other agents that, oh, I don't like to make calls. That's not who I am. I don't want to bother people. That doesn't work. That's just telemarketing, or that's no fun. And they develop all those bad habits by languishing on so you create your own monster by not providing them some sort of onboarding or orientation or training system, and then not having some sort of ongoing system for accountability to continue it. So you ensure that their success. If you just people please your agents and cater to them and do whatever they want to do, well, that's crazy. That's like a doctor not telling their smoking clients to stop smoking. They lean on you for that. Do they want to hear that news? No, they don't, but they depend on the doctor to keep them alive. So you got to have the hard conversations, and brokers and leaders and team leaders, you got to have these too, man. We got to be out there for lead generation, and we got to be out there really making sure that we curve this failure rate in our industry. So your job is to protect them. These are people that are in your custody, that they've placed their careers in your hands. So it is your obligation to not people please them and actually force them to get a little bit vulnerable and get a little uncomfortable so that they can increase the likelihood of their longevity in the real estate industry. So that's why it's so important, guys. And that's why we as leaders must ensure that we have onboarding systems, training systems, even in traditional brokerages, so that we ensure that these agents survive, or they're going to, get out of the business and fail because they never learned the most important part of it, how to get it. Or B, they're going to go to another broker or team that can give them that increased intention. Now at ICC, this is what we've seen as the biggest problem in the industry: a lack of training, lack of coaching, a lack of success. So we built our custom training suite that is our answer to this problem, where we can take our national productivity sales training and create websites for our clients, and then they can upload and in the same platform create their localized training that's specific to them. They can put in their MLS training, their file compliance training, their listing search training, their CRM training, their forms and disclosures, all their localized training. They can record it by recording their own screen and just talking right in their phone, right on our platform. So they'll have their own local and national training. We have training on there for both brokerages and teams, and both as well too. That way you'll have both your lead generation and lead conversion training on there as well too. You can even give your agents designations and degrees for finishing all these different types of courses, and create your own for that as well, for your own localized courses. It's pretty freaking awesome. It's an amazing system, but we got to have something, right? So we got to have that something. We provide our clients with agent onboarding calendars, team onboarding calendars, team and brokerage training calendars, and training systems as well too. And they leverage our systems to help them, so they don't have to train so much themselves, right? They do it through us and leverage this new tool that's becoming more and more important with the evolving changes in the industry. So anyway, guys, I hope this helps with you and understanding the different aspects that you need to navigate with a real estate sales training program. So make sure it's lead generation, not just lead conversion, if we want to get more sales, right? All right, that's your big takeaway. Thanks again, guys. Can't wait to see you on the next show.